Hello students, today in this video we are going to study the poem A Tiger in the Zoo of our book The First Flight. The poem written by Leslie Norris explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. The poem begins as he stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet race. Here, the poet says that the tiger that is confined in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin, that is of yellow color. He further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps. The tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. He is angry because he is not free. Now look at some literary devices given in this stanza. First one is the rhyming scheme. As you can see, the last words strips, case, quiet, raise. So rhyming scheme here is A, B, C, and you can see case, raise is matching, so it is B. So altogether it is A, B, C, B. The poet has referred tiger as he, so here it is personification. The paws of the tiger is compared with velvet, pads of velvet, so it is metaphor. Enjambment is there, as you can see there is no punctuation marks, and the sense moves from one line to another, so there is enjambment. Imagery is there, as you can see on reading these lines, a scene is created that a tiger is walking in his zoo, so this is imagery. Consonance is there, as you can see the words stalks, he's, strips. So stalks starts with the same sound and ends with the same sound, so this is called consonance. Assonance is there in his vivid strips. You can see the presence of I letter in this line, so this is assonance, and the word quiet and raise, so these are two opposite words, and when they are used it is oxymoron. Now he should be lurking in shadows, sliding through the long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. The poet says that if this tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water bodies so that he could easily catch a deer in order to have it as its food. Basically, the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in jungle where he could catch his prey and eat it, but the tiger in the cage cannot do so. Again, the rhyming scheme of this stanza is shadow, grass, hole, pass, grass and pass. So it is A, B, C and B. Now the other literary devices, enjambment is there as similar to the first stanza, and alliteration, the sound plump and pass. The initial sound is P, so it is alliteration. Imagery is there again, the tiger hiding in the grass can be seen through these lines, so it is imagery. Now he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. The poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. Snarling का मतलब डराने वाली जो आवाज़ें निकालते हैं एनिमल, that sound. He would terrorize people with his sharp tooth and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the villages. Again, the rhyming scheme: house, is, clause, and village. Is village, so it is A, B, C, B. Similar to the first and second stanza, there is also enjambment. Now, another sound, the word snarling. When the sound is represented by words, it is called onomatopoeia. Assonance is there, as you can see, stood around houses. The sound letter O is there, and bearing his I letter is here. So this is assonance, and consonance is also there. His fangs, his claws. So this is consonance, use of constant sound S. But he is locked in a concrete cell. His strength behind bars stalks the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Now the poet comes to the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. He says that the tiger is confined in a strong cell which is made up of strong building material. He further says that as the tiger is behind the bar, so his fearlessness is also behind the bars. He just stalks in the cage. He never tries to terrorize the visitors because his power is restricted by the cage. Therefore, he never tries to terrorize the visitors as he cannot attack them. Again, you can see the rhyming scheme: cell, bars, cage, and visitors. Here, again, bars and visitors. So A, B, C, B. Personification is there, as the tiger is referred as he. Assonance is there. He locked concrete cell. So there is use of E sound, and consonance is also there. His strength, bars. Alliteration is there, behind bars. B, B. Initial sound is same. Now he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, the stars with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The poet says that in the night, the tiger hears the sound of the patrolling cars. Patrolling cars are the vehicles of police which are used to guard at night. So in the night, the tiger hears the sound of these cars. He then stares at the shining stars with his shining eyes. The poet wants to say that the tiger is sad, and as he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. Therefore, he stares at the stars in the night and tries to divert his thoughts towards them. Again, the rhyming scheme: night, cars, eyes, stars. Cars and stars is same. So A, B, C, B. Similarly to other stanzas, there is enjambment, and alliteration is there. In he hears, his H sound is same, and assonance is there with his brilliant. So I sound is prominent, so assonance is there. So with this, we come to the end of this poem. Thank you for listening.